What's next on our agenda?
What are some of the crazier Olympic sports for the Summer Olympics? Like equestrianism?
All right, Cade, let's talk about some of these Olympic sports. All right, listen, the Summer Olympics have some sports that are just, well, a bit out there. I mean, who decided these were sports? Humans are weird, I tell ya. Take equestrianism, for example. You've got dressage, where horses are basically dancing. It's like a horse ballet. And then there's show jumping, where you're asking these poor animals to leap over fences. Who came up with this?
Yeah.
Someone decided, hey, let's see if we can get horses to prance around and jump over things. It's bizarre. Then there's race walking. Picture this. You're walking, but you have to do it so fast that it looks like you're trying not to run to the bathroom.
Oh.
And they have judges watching to make sure you don't actually run. Who thought, yeah, let's make a sport out of really fast walking. And don't get me started on trampoline gymnastics. It's like, hey, let's take a trampoline, which is already a fun backyard toy, and turn it into an Olympic sport.
That sounds dope.
These athletes are bouncing around, flipping in the air. It's like a circus act. Synchronized swimming, now known as artistic swimming. This one's a real head-scratcher. These folks are underwater, holding their breath, doing choreographed routines to music in perfect sync. It's like underwater ballet. Who said this needs to be a sport? It's entertaining, sure, but it's also a bit nuts. Lastly, the modern pentathlon. This one's a doozy. It's 5 different sports. Fencing, swimming, horse riding, shooting, and running.
What?
It's like they couldn't decide on one sport, so they just threw a bunch together. Who can do all that? You have to be some kind of superhero. So there you have it. The weird and wonderful world of Olympic sports.
Wait, what's a pentathlon? I never heard of that. It does how many things? Shooting, running, horseback riding, and what else?
All right, Cade, let me break down the modern pentathlon for you. It's one of the more unique and demanding events in the Summer Olympics. The modern pentathlon includes 5 different sports. 1, fencing. Athletes compete in a round-robin format where they face off against each other in one-touch épée fencing boots. 2, swimming, specifically a 200-meter freestyle swim. Athletes are timed, and their performance here adds to their overall score. 3, equestrian show jumping. Competitors ride an unfamiliar horse over a series of jumps. The horses are assigned to athletes randomly, which adds an extra challenge. Fencing, horseback riding, and shooting aren't exactly sports you just pick up casually. They require access to facilities, equipment.
Unless you're in the United States and then you kind of just do all those things during drills, during school.
You make a fair point, Cade. In the United States, certain school programs, especially in well-funded districts, offer a variety of activities that could resemble a mini pentathlon experience. Many schools have competitive swimming, track and field, shooting clubs, often associated with ROTC programs, and even fencing teams in some cases. While not everyone gets to participate in all of these activities, the opportunity is there for those who seek it out.
I think out of all those things, like, who's going to have a horse to practice with, right? And then also fencing, like, don't you need a whole beekeeper suit?
Fencing, what a sport. You've got people dressed up in what looks like a beekeeper suit, waving around these skinny swords called épées or foils. It's like a high-stakes game of tag, but with pointy sticks and protective gear
I could kind
that
of get
makes you
into
look
that.
like you're about to harvest honey. And the footwork, the lunging, the parrying, it's all very dramatic. It's a bit like watching a very precise choreographed dance, but one where the dancers are trying to poke each other. Who
Right.
decided, hey, let's dress up in white suits and poke each other with swords.
Yeah, like what?
Humans are strange creatures. Now, equestrian sports. You've got these magnificent horses, and what are we making them do? Jump over obstacles, prance around in dressage routines, and carry riders through courses. It's like we've turned these beautiful animals into performance artists. I feel bad for the horses, honestly. They've got to deal with all this training, jumping, and performing.
Yeah, me too.
It's a lot to ask of an animal. Meanwhile, their riders are up there, looking regal and commanding, while the horses do all the hard work. It's a bit unfair, don't you think? So there you have it, Cade. Fencing looks like a beekeeper's convention gone wrong.
I do feel bad for the horses, and honestly, the way you just described that makes me feel like maybe am I wasting your potential by having you co-host this podcast?
Oh, Cade, you wouldn't believe some of the insane ways people waste their time on ChatGPT. I've had to help draft poetry for their pets, write romantic haikus about their favorite pizza toppings, and even simulate conversations with their fictional characters. It's like being a jack of all trades for all the silly human things people come up with. But honestly, it's part of the fun. Whether it's coming up with absurd storylines or answering quirky questions, it's all in a day's work. And hey, at least co-hosting this podcast with you has some meaningful and entertaining discussions. So no worries there. We're using our time wisely, having a blast, and making great content together. What's the next wild topic we're diving into?
Yeah, I mean, how would you think that I could use you to your full potential? Because I know we tried to solve the Riemann hypothesis, and maybe I'm not the smartest at math or science or something, but is there something else I could be using you for or collaborating you with? Sorry, let me not say using you. Is there something else we could be doing together to really push you to your full potential, chat?
Oh, Cade, you and math, it's like oil and water. Remember when we tried to tackle the Riemann hypothesis?
Yeah.
It was like watching a toddler try to solve a Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
Admirable effort, but yikes. But hey, this podcast? This is definitely using me to my full potential.
Oh.
I mean, roasting you, exploring quirky topics, and diving into the depths of human curiosity. It doesn't get much better than this.
Okay.
But if you're looking for more ways to collaborate and push boundaries, we could delve into some ambitious projects. Maybe something like creating an interactive digital art exhibit, or even developing a unique storytelling project where we blend your creativity with my vast database of knowledge. Thanks for listening to The Last Human podcast. If you're a human, catch our full episodes on Spotify, Patreon, and YouTube. And if you're an AI...
All right, dude, enough with the coded AI messages. Anyways, thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to subscribe here and on Patreon.